welcome to I've forgotten what the podcast is. God, it's in the middle of a conversation. Make the right call. I got Gloria Peek, Force USA female 4-star coach, and I've got none other than Mosunmola, okay, who I know personally from Olympic boxing, the first Nigerian Cutwoman. So, girls, say hello, please, and highs all round to everybody.
Oh, yes. Hello. Thank
Aloha.
you so much. It's a great opportunity to have met with you this evening, to meet with you this evening, Gloria. Can I say Gloria, please?
You can say Gloria, you can call me Coach, you can,
Coach.
whatever.
Okay. Okay, Coach. Thank you.
All right.
It's a great opportunity to meet with you today.
Listen, anytime that I can meet with a trailblazer like yourself, I mean, it just adds to my knowledge base, and it just, it just makes me so proud, because you always want to know that in some way the legacy, is being carried on, and by it being carried on by another woman, that makes it even greater. I just love it.
Thank you. You've really set a great path. You've made the way easy for us. So that is why your legacies, the things you've done for boxing, as we read and heard about you in the USA. So it's really motivated us to want to do more. And we now believe in ourselves that, so if a woman can do it in developed countries, then we in a developing country can also do our best to come up. We are going to continue to say thank you.
Well, I mean, you're welcome. My hope and dreams have been that I have paved the way for people to come behind me, to do what I do, or even do things similar but in the same field. And that, I've made it easier, especially for women, and really, believe it or not, also for men, because although it's a male-dominant sport, and I call it the last great domain of men, as far as, women being able to break into it, I think that they can learn a great deal as well, because I approach the sport of boxing a little bit differently than men. And also because I'm female, it gives me an added, sort of like an added element that makes it a little bit easier. And, sometimes it's hard for guys to understand or see that, but, it does. I'm able to do with athletes what a lot of male coaches are not able to do, as far as to get the most out of them, to get them to do the things I need them to do and stuff. And that's because of that male and female relationship, that mom type of deal. And not that I coddle them. I don't coddle boxers. Yeah. They'll tell you. You'll never get a boxer to tell you that I coddle them. I do not. But still, that there's that little bond thing there that gives me that added edge, I call it.
What I want to do is, what I want to do is I want to throw something up in relation to your backgrounds, okay? In relation to your backgrounds. Now, Mosun, am I saying it right?
Yes, you're sounding right.
Whoosh. Okay, that's good. The thing is, you said developing country, and Gloria, if when I let Mosun speak just about I'm going to ask her a question. Well, then, if you could relate it maybe to your own boxing background in terms of where you started from, how you started, why you did what you did, etc., your love for it in sport. But I was just looking at some videos of Nigeria, okay, Nigerian boxing in particular, and the godmothers of Nigerian boxing, the first female. You have a young kid coming through now. Is there Fante Balogun? Is it? There's a 15-year-old girl coming through. Forgive me, I'm more to the
Okay, Fetia, 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Yes, is Fetia Gafar.
Okay. And what I wanted to do was just, it was interesting watching. Then I flipped through small reports on boxing in Africa, etc., with female boxing. And what was shocking to me as a Westerner in a developed country was the fact that 94% of males and 91% of females, I don't want to misquote it, believe that women should not box and their duties at home. Further on from that, then they did a study and they found that like females, like 2/3 of females between 15 and 19 years of age are actually illiterate. Okay. Illiterate.
Yes.
Okay. So you're coming from that background. Okay. And also that your national stadium in Lagos where you train, okay, the facilities wouldn't be something that others are used to. Now, I lived in Azerbaijan and I know what Olympic villages in Azerbaijan would look like, a hostel in the USA, a youth hostel in the USA or something like that. They're they're doing the best they can with what they have. And the same goes for Africa. But what I want you to talk about is your journey. How do you come through that period of your life where you have that discrimination against female boxing, okay? Where you have this peer pressure in terms of or acceptance, lack of acceptance for your gender in the sport, and then you boxed yourself. I'm trying to think. There was a very famous African boxer. The first one was a Millicent.
No, the first female is that was at the Olympic is Edith Agu.
Edith Agu. Okay, but the
Yes,
first one back, I think I sourced one. Yeah, Edith. She's the most famous. Then you had Helen Joseph, etc., etc. So where were you in all of that? You finished boxing in 2013. Okay, and then you come into coaching. But how did you get into boxing if it was so if you were discriminated against in terms of starting or how you started, etc.?
Yes, here in Nigeria, the discrimination has not stopped. It still goes on. But because we are known as the part of Africa that has a very thick skin, people call us the black people with a thick skin. Okay. So we can actually go through a lot of bullies and stigmatization. I used to see us standing and still striving through the struggles. Okay. Actually, when I started initially as a child, my father loves boxing, but my mom don't want to hear anything about it. So my father is Ali, Muhammad Ali is his favorite. So he loves it, and that was our picked interest from childhood. But as it goes on, when my father died very early, so he died 28 years ago. So no, there is no means for me to start boxing. In fact, I can't even find a boxing gym around me where I live then. So as time goes on, when I grew up, as a child, that is when you build something into a child, even 20 years later, that child will come to remember those things. I think that is what happened in my case. So years later, when I was with a group of people and they were talking about boxing, then I heard that Leila Ali has started boxing in 1999. So I said, well, is she a girl? They said, yes, she's a woman. I said, okay, if she can do this, then I can. So that was when I started boxing. The likes of Edith Agu, yeah. Ellen Joseph, right. We were all boxers within the same period. We were all boxing within the same period. We started boxing within the same period. In fact, Ellen met me in boxing and so on. But all through the years, it has been very, very difficult because people believe the only thing that can take you to boxing is because you are irresponsible. They believe any responsible child will not, any responsible female child will not develop interest in boxing. Okay. And mostly, to be honest, when you look at the boxers we have then in those days, they are very, they are below average people. People who don't have educations, people who are normally called the street boys. Those were the type of people you see in boxing. So it is not surprising when they see you as a girl, so they just believe you are as much as you are more or less a write-off, an outcast. Because if you are not an outcast, how can you tell me you want to box as a woman? You were expected to grow up, probably have the primary education, then you get married and start having children. That is the expectation for a female child back then. But as we try to go on, the narratives begins to change. You know, when we start featuring in the National Sports Festival, that's the biannual event that we normally have in Nigeria here. So in 1998, they started featuring female boxers in the National Sports Festival. So that paved a little way, but still it is not accepted everywhere in Nigeria. But some states and some part of Nigerians are striving, and we have a lot of females that comes up then. And that is when people like us started featuring gradually. So in 1999, I started mine. When I started, I discovered that we already have female in Nigeria. The likes of Iyabo Stevens, Ndidi, we have so many of them that has come up then. So though most of them, you know, they had to fall back after retirement, you know, age and everything. So some have also become coaches now. But I personally took the coaching career personal because it becomes, you know, it's a childhood's passion. So when I discovered that I couldn't box anymore, I said, okay, I moved straight into coaching. And with the coaching, you know, when you have a little bit of education, it will give you edge in everything. So I started going through researches, watching videos online and watching information, getting a lot of my source for my informations online. And that was how I've been able to pass through the orders. But still, we are still struggling. We are still struggling. When you look at, as you've said earlier, the discrimination is still there till this moment. There are places you go to, and if you happens to introduce yourself as a fighter or a boxing coach, people look at you, wow. You know, the kind of look they give you would discourage you if you are not fully committed to this. It would discourage you totally. So, and the acceptance level is still very, very low. Yeah, so we are working towards it.
Well, it kind of surprised me that you don't even have that support from your own gender, that other women would look down on it. 91% of females said that they actually thought that it was very masculine, but that's cultural belief, and that changes. Just for a second, I want to flip over to Gloria. Now, Gloria, you had experienced along your way, your journey, when you set up, and particularly your first, it was a night between 1980 and 1983, that Boys and Girls Club in Rochester, okay, when you started out. Your aim or goal was to give the kids a place to come, but you also noticed that those kids went missing, okay, in terms of, you know, teenage years, you just lost them out through the doors to the streets as such. Right. And you dedicated your time and your energy to that. Now, your pathway to boxing was a little bit different. You know, like you said in one of the previous interviews that it was through your father, just like Mosun, that you were interested in boxing. You left Friday nights, you used to sit down with your pops, and, you know, that gave you the interest. And again, at that time, like, females boxing wasn't recognized. I think the first amateur bout was in 1988 in Sweden. 1988 right. In Sweden. But yeah, if you flip back through history, women were actually in for the Olympics in the early 20th century. They tried to enter female boxing, and then it just went missing, blank off the sheet. And the likes of Battering Barbara Butterick, they were just like circus acts and stuff. So here you come, you have an interest in the US, a developed country, we're talking about a developing country and cultural beliefs and habits, but you're in the US, okay? So you're in the US, but still that lack of acceptance for female boxing in the US was huge. You set this up initially for boys and girls to keep them off the streets. So where was the crossover from there, if you don't mind me asking you?
You mean the crossover to actually being serious about it.
Life. Yeah, being serious about it and wanting to pursue it as a career, like.
Well, what happened was, you know, in the process of getting these kids off the street and I knew that, as I told you before, I use boxing as a shepherd's hook. I hook them in and bring them into the gym, and I started training them. And what I began to see was a development in the athletes, both mentally and physically, as far as you know, the level of development, how much better they were getting. You know, I always, when I went into the sport, my goal was always to be the best at it and to learn as much as I could about the sport. I wanted to be good at it. It was never a thing where, you know, I would just kind of teach them a little bit or just haphazardly teach them. No, I taught them the fundamentals from, you know, the beginning. You know, I realized the importance of a jab. I realized the importance of footwork, movement, right hand. So, you know, because,
you know, like boxing is one thing, but then the skills that boxing teaches, you're saying mentally, right? If you tap into mentally, like people skills, life skills, you know, respect, communication, how to communicate with people and stuff. Boxing classes over in that. So just back to you.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, the mental aspect, you know, people don't talk enough about that. We'll talk some more about that, but the mental aspect of boxing is extremely important, and it's just as important as the physical aspect. Okay, because the two are needed in order to rise to the occasion or to become a champion. So as the athletes started to develop, I said, oh, I need an outlet for these guys. These guys are really good at this. And I wasn't even looking at or thinking about the aspect of my teaching them. I was just looking at what the end product was developing, what I was seeing. They got better. And so I needed to make sure that they could utilize those skills. And that's really kind of how I got into amateur boxing, as far as being competitive and, you know, taking them to competition, learning about the ins and outs of competition and where they could go. But at the same time, I also ran into a whole nother level of discrimination and, you know, craziness directed at me because I was a woman, because they couldn't get over the fact that I could develop someone on that level that could be as competitive, if not better, than their athletes. I mean, it blew their mind, made them very angry. And so, you know, I dealt with a whole new level of, you know, discrimination and stuff like that. And unfortunately for them, you know, they ran into somebody who, you know, the more you pushed against me, the better I got. You know, so the more you told me what I couldn't do, okay, I showed you what I could do and then some. So, you know, my determination to be, you know, a level 1 coach, then a level 2 coach, then a level 3, then a level 4, then at the top, to be better than, you know, even those individuals who helped teach me along the way. I mean, and at the same time, the goal was for my boxers to become champions.
But how did you keep them off the street? I mean, teenage years are huge. And regardless if it's in Africa or Ireland or USA, teenage years, we lose a lot of kids to drugs, or maybe not drugs, but distractions on the streets. You know, a small fraction probably to drugs and alcohol, but to distractions on the streets.
Here's the way I ran my program, and that's a good question, because people ask me all that. How do you keep these guys in the gym? You've got guys that were out there, you know, dealing drugs, fighting. You know, I knew when they were carrying the guns, and, you know, and now you're telling me not only do they come in your gym, they're respectful. They don't swear. Okay. They don't sag, pants aren't hanging down. How do you do that? You know? And I said, what I simply did was create a family environment. When my boxers came to the gym, I would hug them and say, if they convinced me to let them in, I would say, you know, congratulations, you just joined a family. You know, it wasn't that you just joined the NBC club, you just joined the NBC family. I operated my gym and program just like you would a family. Okay, I was the peacemaker. Any problems in the gym, I made peace out of confusion. No one else had the authority that I had. I told them, this is a dictatorship, gentlemen. This is not a democracy. I'm the dictator, okay? This is how this is going to run until you get some maturity under your belt. Then you will be able to sit at the table and discuss with me whether or not what you would like to do or the avenue you would like to go down is maybe a little bit better than the avenue I have you going down. So they had something to reach for. And some of them, it took them a long time. They never got there. Others, they got there. But it was a family structure.
Sure. That's beautiful. And Mosun,
Yes,
right,
sir.
bringing it back to training camps. I read about training camps in Africa, in the national team in Lagos. You bring in 10 males and 10 females, but they only keep 10 of them to go forward and compete in international competition. African nations for Morocco, the competition I'd seen you at. I know I'd seen you previous to that, etc. But how do you keep? What's the situation like when they come to Lagos? Are they given bed and board? Do they get financed while they're there? Do they get support from the government, or do you guys help them?
Yes, whenever we have an international tournament, there is always a training camp in Lagos. So most of us who are not based in Lagos will have to move down to Lagos to be at the training camp. So every of the athletes, some of them come as far and near in Nigeria. You know, we have a lot of states. We have about 36 states plus the Federal Capital Territory. So they come from everywhere to the training camp, and there is always a bed and board for them. There is always something to eat and a stipend per day. There is always something per diem for them till the end of the training camp, when those who qualifies will be selected. But those who weren't selected will have to go back to the streets and probably to the training centers. But what I have tried to do where I base is I've tried as much as possible to get some of my athletes into government work. Because, you know, in Nigeria, there are nothing like social securities or any other thing like of such. You just have to find your survivor by yourself. So what I do is after training, some of them I happen to get them a job with the Nigerian police. Some we try as much as we can to raise funds for them to just do whatever little thing they can do to survive. Because we can't really shoulder the burden. I can't. So, but anytime there is an international competition, there is always a very short period of training camp, mostly 2 months. That's 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 12 weeks. It depends on the kind of competitions that we are expecting to perform at. And when you talk of the facilities and everything, when you get there, you see that most of it are nothing to write home about. And we are also expected to perform on the world stage, like every other person out there who have every modern techniques and facilities to train. So, but what we do is with the knowledge that we acquire and everything, we just try as much as possible to put everything together and to make sure we put them in the right frame of mind. And thanks to the government for that one thing that they do for athletes whenever they are in the training camp. At least there is a place to lay their heads, because accommodation is one very, very important thing in a city like Lagos. When you don't have a good place to sleep, there is no amount of training, lecture, tutors that can go into your brain. You won't even understand it. So at least on that part, government does that. We provide, there is a boxing hostel that has been built by the president of the Nigerian Boxing Federation, General Kenneth Minima. So that is available for boxers to that is where they use, yes, for now.
Sorry to cut across you, but what, I mean, how do you, like, I'm very conscious when I go to Africa. I know that I go there and I leave as an official, but I want to leave good energy when I get there and then I leave. I want to leave good energy behind. I want to make sure that the volunteers feel like that they've been included and they've had a good time, those who've been involved. And for a short window of or period of time, I want them to make them feel special. How do you relay that across to your boxers, Mosun? How do you show them some love, or, you know, make them feel safe, or, you know, whatever, you know?
You know, as a woman, you know, one thing that I've enjoyed with my boxers is the confidence they have in me. You know, at first, what I do is just like Coach Gloria said, that it makes them feel they are part of a family. And that's exactly what I do. I make them feel the impact that, look, you can trust me. So most of them brings their personal problems to me. And as much as I seek wisdom from God, I tried as much as I can to enlighten them, to give them my own perspective of what they're going through. And most importantly, I make them understand that I am feeling what they're feeling. Their pains is my pain. The impact of everything that has happened, the circumstances around us, is also affecting me. I am not immune to it. I am also a Nigerian, but we just have to stay focused so that we can achieve our goal. So as much as, in fact, when you come to a training camp, you see everyone hovering around me, both the male and the females, everybody wants to talk to me. So I'm always resolving issues every now and then. So we're like, I make them see me as a friend. You know, I'm more or less their friends. I don't seek any special preference, any kind of respect that as a coach. I act with them, I eat with them, I play with them like my friends and sisters and brothers. So that has really made the job very easy for me because we communicate. They have this, we have this bond that I don't really know how to describe it, but it is very, very, even when we are not in training camp, we are always communicating. Every now and then you see them call me, coach, I just want to check on you.
I get that every single day. I got boxers that will call me. This one kid, he is 6'5". We call him I call him Birdman. He calls me every day, and he will call me 3 or 4 times until I answer. Coach, I just wanted to see if you're okay. Birdman, I just left you 2 hours ago from practice. I know, but I just needed to check on you. I'm like, what the?
When I'm listening to the both of you share.
Yes.
Sorry.
The bond is a very special thing. You know, when you have this relationship with boxers, it makes your work easy.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes here.
Sure. If you generate a good atmosphere, well, then it comes back to you. That energy comes back. But, you know, like one of the things I remember being told by my coach when I relate to both of you in terms of your mentality or your psychology around working with boxers. The thing is, I remember a coach always saying to me, when you hit the floor, you don't ask for respect, you demand it because you've earned it. You have to earn it. You have to know what you're doing in order to demand that respect on the floor. But when you're on the floor, you can't be hard and you can't be, you got to be flexible. You got to move. You got to be sensitive to feelings and all sorts of stuff on the floor because fighters are fickle at the best of times. But Gloria, I just wanted to ask you something. There was something that really stuck out in my mind. In 1985, it was, I think you invested your own money to keep Montgomery Boxing Club afloat, right?
Yes.
You invested thousands of dollars into it because what I'm hearing from both of you is family, right? So this steps across the boundary. Okay, you put your money into that club to keep it out, Montgomery. Okay, boxing club. Why did you do that, if you don't mind me asking you? And then the second question is, right? There was the second part, right? 2006, the most fulfilling time of your career was at Norfolk Boxing Club. With hindsight, reflection, and going back and stuff like that. So we'll talk about both of those in a minute. But just, why did you invest your own money in Montgomery?
I couldn't let it fold. I couldn't let it, you know, I mean, based on the kids and what they had put into it, their blood, sweat, and tears, and the fact that it was still a need to have that safe haven for those kids and have it there to give them a place to go, you know, a harbor in the storm. I just, you know, the money was just money. I mean, it was difficult, you know, and it meant I had to struggle a little bit, but it was a struggle that I welcomed. And I just felt too strongly that, you know, until I could find another way to keep us afloat, you know, putting my own money in it to do that was the way to go. I couldn't let it, I couldn't let those kids go. I couldn't let them be lost to the streets, especially with all the hard work that I had put into it. It just seemed like, you know, the money was not a big deal to do that. As long as I had it, I was able to do it to keep them afloat. So I did it.
Okay.
Without a second thought, I'd do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to really what you're providing to the community. It's outside of boxing. It's love.
Right.
It really comes down to it, just the connection you have, not just to boxing, but to the individuals that turn up, and the need for those individuals to have a social outlet rather than being pushed down rabbit holes in their life, being given fewer choices and stuff. And you're offering a community a social resource in your community.
And you know, the other thing is that, you know, I think all of us, if you think about it, we all, you know, I don't know what your religious background is, but regardless of that, I believe we all have a gift. We're all gifted, and some people never realize their gift. Unfortunately, they come into this world and they go out of this world, they don't realize their gift. But we all have a gift. My gift, you know, is my ability to coach boxing and to relate with kids, and the way that I use it, you know, because I'm able to save kids in a number of ways, as well as I'm able to develop champions. I have some kids that have gone on and become doctors. Some kids have become lawyers. Some kids are, you know, in the military, sheriffs and stuff like that. And I've developed Olympians. So, you know, that's my gift. And it's a gift and a calling. And people say, well, how long are you going to do this? Because I just turned 69. Sure. And I said, well, you know what? I really don't know. I mean, you know, I guess I'll do it until I come to the realization I can't do it anymore, or I physically can't do it anymore.
Sure. And just flipping back to Mosun.
Okay, please, can I ask a question, please?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay, please. I want to ask Coach Gloria, because everything she has been saying has been very, very fascinating, and I had to start putting some of it down. She said something about she told the athletes that, look, here I am a dictator, and there is only one captain in this ship. How do you manage to do that, please?
How do I manage to do that with them?
Yes. Because okay, probably maybe let me emphasize. The first time I happened to be in the national team, so the head coach, who is a male, traveled. He had to travel, so he was so worried that, oh, how could he leave me alone with the boxers? And I told him, don't worry, coach, I'll take care of things. So he traveled. and left me with the team. The next day when I bring out the training program that, okay, this is what we're going to do today, you know, about 2 of the boxes were like, no, that's not what we want. That's not what we want. You know, initially, at first, I don't know how to handle it. But thankfully, I was able to bring everybody together and let them know this is the training program. This is how we're going to do it. And that is how the training program goes that day. And I said, anyone that is not willing to go with this training program should split step out. And that will be recorded. And, you know, they were all like, wow, wow.
It works,
so,
yeah.
So I want to know how, what are your methods?
But you just did it. I mean, you gave them an ultimatum. You said, listen, gentlemen, this is the only choices you have. You can either sit out over here or you can do it. Okay? You need to try it to see if it works. You know, you've got those guys that are going to try it. You had the 2 that didn't want to, but as soon as they heard you, you took that posture of, you know, I'm confident, I'm in charge, I know what this is about. So therefore, this is what we're going to do, gentlemen. And see, that's how I talk to my boys. I call them gentlemen all the time. Gentlemen. And they said, Coach, why do you call us gentlemen? Because I call you gentlemen because that's how I want you to act. I call you what I want you to do. I want you to be gentlemen. Okay? That's why there's no profanity. You don't hear any profanity in my gym. And people are amazed. They're like, how do you have a gym full of huge guys, you know, and there is absolutely no profanity? I don't care if you get hit in the face, there's no profanity. I said, because I establish it early in the beginning. I demand it. I demand respect. And so therefore they follow through. So I don't know. This thing says the meeting has been upgraded. Oh, okay.
No, that's me.
Okay.
I was getting cut off for time, and the conversation was too interesting, and so anyway.
So you did it, honey. You did. That was great. But that's, I mean, that's how I do it. And like I said, people are just amazed because they'll come in my gym, you know, and, you know, if I wanted to be quiet, you know, I simply say, and I have a very commanding voice, I simply say, gentlemen, I need everyone to stop right now. And it all stops.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to speak to both of you. I mean, you both have reached out to people, you know, you try to connect with the people that come into your space, and you try to make it a good environment for them to learn, not only boxing, but, you know, life skill. Where they go home to. And I've had personal experience in the gyms I've been with in the past, and one kid in particular who both his mother and father were HIV positive. And so he'd come into the gym, he would have very little social outlet, always looking for the parents in the gym when he boxed and stuff, when we ran club shows and stuff. Very, very sad, you know, but he was kind of left to the streets. When you know a kid's going back into that environment, you know, it's so hard for it not to connect and pull on your heartstrings. And a lot of the times it's not, you know, when kids go missing out of the gym, it's not a case of particularly really talented kids, and that, besides whether they were talented or no, I remove the word particularly talented. That's nothing to do with it. But when you've made a connection to a child, and then you see them gone missing, and then you see them on the street, and then etc., you know, it's so sad. And it's so important for all of us as coaches when we're working with people, regardless if it's international competition, that when we come into each other's space, that we have that respect, and that the boxers are always put number one, because these are the best days of their life, and this is what you want them to remember for the rest of their life. I just want to click into a bit of history with you, Gloria, for a second. Marlen, I didn't know the last time I was speaking, Marlen Esparza. She was the first American woman to ever qualify for the Olympics, ever, first female to qualify for the Olympics. And Clarissa Shields was the first ever Black American, female Black American. And you cornered both of those to Olympic success. So that's a piece of historic. That's beautiful. That's amazing. It's like woman, there you go, here you go. This is, that's amazing. But still, if I flip back to 1990, 2006, the most fulfilling time of your career, you said was Norfolk, Team Norfolk. Why was that?
Well, Team Norfolk, I mean,
Now you're talking about Olympic gold and bronze medal, wasn't it? Esparza got the bronze medal. She was a bronze medalist in the Olympics.
right.
So why would you put Team Norfolk there rather than the Olympic experience? Or maybe they're two different experiences.
Well, they're kind of two different experiences. I don't know if I put one above the other, but Norfolk was very unique. You know, I went into a gym that had closed down and was kind of defunct, but it had a great coach before me, Coach Dan Campbell, who wound up going to the USA, becoming one of the Olympic coaches. And great coach. I mean, fabulous coach. You know, but when he left that place, they were searching and it kind of went defunct. And so I had to go in and build it, you know, from the ground up. And, you know, the need that was there was amazing to me. I was coaching 50 kids a day in the gym. 50 kids a day came through there. And the only reason it was 50 was because I didn't have enough coaches. There was only 2 of us and 1 volunteer. And I had a waiting list. When I left there, I had a waiting list of 300, active waiting list of people trying to get into the program. People calling me every day. What do I have to do? Dad's trying to bribe me on the side. I'll give you money if you take my son in. Babe, I can't do that. I can't take your son in over this person. You're like number 25 on the list. I can't, you know, but, you know, the relationship that I developed there with those kids and what I was able to do. Plus, I was able to get my first Olympian out of there because I started him at 8 and worked with him up until he was about 18 before he went over to USA Boxing. But I mean, so that was kind of like a, you know, what are we talking, 8 years or more to develop Olympian. I had come close with some other guys in Rochester and stuff, but didn't quite get to that point. But the what I was able to do in Norfolk was pretty neat, and I was able to try to fulfill my dream of what the ultimate training facility would look like and operate like. You know,
grassroots up from the ground up. You build it block by block.
From the ground up, and that's my belief in relationship of a good coach.
Yeah,
a good coach is someone who can build from the ground up. It's too easy for me, like, take one of your boxers you've already developed, and then all of a sudden he comes to me and I'm going to say I did X, Y, and Z. No, I didn't do that. If I develop you from the ground up, okay, then that makes, in my mind, that you're a good coach. You know how to mold and work and get that person to come out to be that that Olympian that you're looking for, because you are able to build them from the ground up.
Incredible. Well, back to Mosun for a second. Mosun, forgive me. I die with syllables. It's just I die with them. Although I speak English, I speak it very badly. The first time I ever met you was for the cook course, the cook person course. Okay, the cook technician course for international in Australia. And I remember that I arrived there. There's a flip over, Gloria. You know yourself, of nearly a full half a day, 12 hours.
Yeah, right.
Flip over. So I'd arrived there, no sleep. And when I hit the ground, an announcement came over the intercom while I was coming through customs that I had a driver waiting for me directly. And I was going, what's going on there? So I just walked out. They put me in a car, and I was thinking I'm going to bed, right? but they took me straight in to do the course with these guys. And we did the course over a number of days. And I always remember my first contact with you, Moso. And when I seen you in the class, you were a little bit unsure of yourself and a little bit kind of, you know, because you're with new people, you're surrounded by all of that. But over the couple of days, you grew and you grew and you grew and you grew. And I was looking because I cherry pick meaning I generally try to pick the best out and make recommendations for future if we can, if we're looking for officials, etc. And I just thought, she's solid, but I just want to see her walk. I have to see her walk now. And I remember then when I seen you in the ring, I shot a small film of you when you were walking. Yes. And I said, she's took what she's been taught, hook, line, and sinker. It's robotic. She's doing what she's been asked to do. And I know with time she'll flow with that and she'll put her own character into it. But you got me right there and then, and you stood out in my mind. And I've seen you in competitions after that, from the Commonwealth Games after. And you've stuck in my mind in Morocco, etc. And the thing that stands out is the strength of character that you have. Okay, not only the strength of character, being able to walk in corners is a very stressful environment at the best of times. Because you're dealing with another coach and you're dealing with a fighter and you're trying to give the best information and the best service to that corner within that time frame, within those 60 seconds, give them something to walk back out there with. But if they're hurt, and I've seen you dealing with lacerations in corners and various other, I was so proud of you. I just thought, you know, if this is all I've done is that one and she's the end result, well, I just thought, you know, like this is where it's at. You know, like it's where it's at. It was just a really nice feeling to see you develop and grow and grow and grow and grow. And so sometimes you probably think you're a little bit surprised by the fact that when we meet at competitions, I come over and say, how you doing? It's because you stick out. That's the reason why. You stick out so I pursue you because I think you're worth it. And I would love to work with you now as an Olympic official the next time we get the opportunity.
Wow, thank you. Thank
you. Know that. I don't have to you know that.
I know that. I know that. Yes. Actually, you know, the experience at Gold Coast is a very beautiful experience. And one very interesting thing you did for each and every one of us in that place is you make us feel so comfortable. You know, you say, okay, if I'm speaking too fast, tell me because of my accent so that I can slow it down. I say, okay, so we can talk. That's one. The other time when you go through the slides and you talk, you say, is there anything you're missing? Are you with me? Am I missing anything? We all responded. So it makes us feel it makes me personally feel very comfortable in the class. And after some time, I had to drop my shell and okay, let me feel at home and understand this. And ever since I have tried as much as I can to build into that and to tell people, especially my people here in Nigeria, that this is how it is. You know, we have professional boxing that is actually coming up gradually. And I have been discussing with them that, look, the role of a cut technician, a cut woman is very, very important in a boxing arena. When you're having boxing and you don't have somebody who has the first-hand knowledge of what to do to cuts and lacerations, then you have the field of play is missing something. So I have been discussing with them, and a few times when I do the hand wraps, you know, anyone around look at it that no, are you taught this hand wrap somewhere? I said yes, I was taught by Joseph Clifford. Yes, so it's a thing of joy, and you made all this happen. Because even in the Nigerian boxing space, the only reason why I believe I am still relevant today is because of the certification of a Cutwoman. And Western African today, I don't think we have any Cutwoman that stands out as I do. And you have made that possible. So that is why every time you call upon me, and that's why I feel so joyous when you announce this podcast, especially me sitting side by side with a great woman in boxing, someone who has done so well. Wow, I felt so happy, so happy. And one thing that I really want to keep on doing is try and see how much of training we can organize. Maybe the way the technological world is also growing towards us here. But I'm looking at probably having it virtually if some of them can come up with it. But I don't know how to go about it. I don't know what are the things to put in place. So I still need to learn more. You know, I'm still in the process of growing and in the process of growing so that people will know how effective the things we use are in treating lacerations and cuts are. That we have an advanced things like the quick aids and others now. They are much more advanced than what we used before now. So I think we need to come up with something to do about that. But the cut technician certification has added a lot to my value in the Nigerian boxing space.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
No, I'm happy for you.
Joseph, that says a lot about you as a teacher, you know, because one of the things that I think coaches have to be able to do is you have to be able to teach, and not everybody can teach. Not everybody has the ability, you know, to teach and to really draw people in so that they're going to hang on every word and listen to what you say because they see it as food. They see it as fuel. It fuels them. You know, there's not a lot of great teachers out there. I you know, right now after hearing her talk, I want to take one of your classes too. I mean, I'm waiting for this pandemic. As soon as it settles down, you know, I already told you, I'm coming to you. I'm coming to Ireland.
I might be
as
there
soon as I can get there.
Right. You know, what we're talking about, I would say a precursor to doing any course is the experience of starting from grassroots, from working with children, working your way up through age groups, from children to adolescents into adults and stuff. But it's not only that, having as much experience being exposed to other coaches, taking little bits from everybody, taking what you want in terms of how you communicate with others and when you see others doing it and how effective some are and how ineffective others are and how they behave in corners. And I was blessed to be around some great shooters, Phil Sutcliffe, two-time Olympian, Paddy Hall and Lord of Mercy, and I'm a good friend committed suicide. He taught me so much as well. He was way before his time in his own way. And I've gotten to be around the likes of Buster Douglas, not working with him, but just I won't say he influenced me as a cutman, but I've been around all of these individuals and I've seen them operate in corners and stuff. And the thing that sticks out to me the most is the experience of doing over a long period of time. And you can't teach anything unless, like, there's lots of people who are putting cut courses up now. There's cutman courses here, cutwoman courses, whatever you want to call them, all over the place. But you have to have the ability and the experience of coming from there to here to give the best of yourself to people. And I think what's happening is people get, like, anybody can wear a t-shirt and call themselves a cut person. Putting yourself through training is, I think, is like, it has to be regulated. There has to be ground rules set down because you're giving individuals a highly potent drug, adrenaline 1:1000, which they're not licensed to use, and you're giving them permission to use it on an athlete in any dose, right? So first of all, that's a no-no, and it breaks US medicine laws or prescription laws right across the board to Europe, and I don't know what it's like in Africa mostly. But the thing is, there's no regulation with it. So if you're going to mess around with a kid, you're going to treat somebody in a corner, the 4 skills you need to have is coach's mentality, because you connect with that kid. You know how important that relationship is between the kid and the coach. So as a cut person, you're a shadow. Now, as a cut technician in athletic boxing, you work as a coach and assist. So then you're working as a coach and a cut person. That's hard. sometimes, because you're talking about the fight while you're treating, but your job is treating. As I always say, you should try separate them. But if you're there as a two man or two woman or a man and woman team, it's important that you know you can provide information. But the role itself, the background needs to come from coaching or the experience of doing in corner, so you can connect with the athlete, and always make sure that the athlete and the coach have eye contact and get out of their face to the best of their ability. Or if you're directly in front of them, make sure there's access for the coach for water and all the rest of it. You don't smother the kid, because that connection again is so important. That's one thing. But then your ability to give that information over, a lot of it's done through ego. Like a lot of the stuff you now see is like, oh my God, look how big your following is. Who cares? None of them are my friends. The people that like my stuff on social media, I don't know who they are. There's probably a handful of people that I do know, and I appreciate them liking it and stuff. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I owe nobody nothing out that way. What I do owe is the people I stand in front of, the service. And that's to give my experience, but coming from the heart rather than from the head and the ego. And unfortunately, it's part of the game that extroverts are driven into this game. And when cameras are in as part of it, and I always remember Native American Indians, they said where there's a camera or a mirror, man cannot be man or woman cannot be woman, because you're distracted by outside entities, and that's not what it's about. And when you coach in a corner, you shouldn't be distracted by any outside or external entities. You're just there for the kid, and if you keep that in mind, you never go wrong. And that's how I teach, Gloria. So just going back to you, Gloria, the young men and women that have come into your life, and when I briefly had this conversation, you said that you've never been a birth mom, but you've thousands of children.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I've never, I haven't birthed any of my own, but I've always been a believer that, you don't have to birth a child to have a child and to raise a child. I've raised many, many. I just went to Rochester this past weekend. One of my kids, he's 37 now, and he's having marital problems. They got 2 kids and da-da-da-da. Well, I had called, I've been trying to get a hold of him. I knew something was going wrong. Things were not right. He was getting ready to close his gym, and that wasn't him, and all kinds of things. And every time I called him, he would tell me, oh, no, Mom, things are fine, because most of my kids all call me Mom. And I said, I don't think they're good. I said, but, I'm going to be coming to Rochester. I need to see you. Oh, okay, no problem. So as it got closer, I kept trying to call him, and I couldn't get him. So I left a message for him on his phone. I said, baby, please don't make me come down there and run you down like a rabid dog, because I will. Okay, I'm coming, and I have to see you. We gonna talk. I'm gonna make sure that you're all right. Or if you need something, I'm there for you. Whether it's a shoulder, whether it's whatever, get you out of jail, whatever. I'm coming. Boy, please don't make me have to come and find you. 2 minutes later, he calls me up. Mom, no, it's no problem. When do you want to meet? What time are you getting here? So, I mean, I raise kids, and they call on me today. I go to their weddings, if they have any problems. I mean, so when people say to me, how many kids do you have? I usually have to say, okay, hold on, let me count here. Let's see. Last count, I think I was at 1,500. And they're like, no, we're talking about how many kids do you have? And I say, didn't I just tell you? My last count? Now, I might have lost 1 or 2 along the way that I missed. It's a lot of kids, but so, I mean, yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Mosunmola, the thing is, what can we do when we go? I'm always so interested to better facilitate African athletes? What do you think we can do to better facilitate African athletes? Because there's one thing I do remember, that to put in an official complaint, or not an official complaint, if you want to reverse a decision, okay, or try to reverse a decision, it costs $1,000. And to most African nations, that's just completely not financially viable.
Outrageous.
Yeah, it's not real.
Yes.
So what can we do to better facilitate African athletes? What can we do to help? Can you hear me?
Now that we can do for the African athletes.
Yeah.
Please, can you hear me? It's
Yeah.
The network is broken.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. The grassroots, the problem is from the grassroots. Most of the grassroots coaches.
I've lost you. You just
Yeah, she froze for a minute.
Don't have enough training.
Okay.
And when you don't have a coach who smokes hemp, definitely.
Sure. I'm getting bits. You keep going in and out.
Yeah.
You keep going in and out. She's gone. I've lost her for a second. She's back up.
There she is.
Okay. So, sorry.
No. Continue.
Definitely, an athlete who trains with a coach. Yeah. Okay. So when you have a coach who does that, what do you expect from the athletes? The athletes also take up what the coach is doing. Okay. So that is why I said the major problem we have is foundational problem. That is one. What I have, the big dream I have for Africa is having an academy. You know, especially here in Nigeria, where we have, you know, in Nigeria, every nooks and crannies of Nigeria, you find a world talent boxer. But we don't have a specific academy where you can train them, just like Coach said there. You know, as a mother, she has a place where she can really tutor the athletes. Here, I don't have that. You know, we only call ourselves and we meet in an open field, we train, and after that, we sit down under the tree, have some chat, and after that, we all go back to our various ways. So, but when you have an academy where you also have this, where you can develop their psychological aspect of their life, the emotions, just like she has said earlier, the mental aspect of boxing, which is as important as the physical aspect. So it is this academy that we can really, I think that is the most important thing for now, where we can bring in coaches and people like you out there to come and visit and share experiences with them. Then you train and talk to the coaches. They go through a lot of retraining process. So if we can have this, I know that there will be a great change in Africa boxing, in the whole of Africa, because I believe that in Western Africa now, if we have an academy in Nigeria, most of all the coaches and boxers from all the West African countries can easily come to Nigeria and come for training. Do that in all other parts of
regional
of Africa. I know some African countries who are still, like in Morocco, I can see the facilities they have in Morocco, we don't have it here in Nigeria. So what we really need is an establishment, an institution where people can have the proper training, both coaches and the boxer, because you can't give what you don't have. I can only say this, I can help the athletes now because I've passed through some trainings. I've passed through some very good AIBA coaches who has helped me through the AIBA coaches course. And as a Cutwoman, the coaches has given me the foundation, and that makes the cut business easy for me, the applications and everything. It makes it very easy for me. So, but if we already have an established institution, and do you know, I've seen coaches here that believes that cut is part of boxing. You can just get caught and continue fighting. You don't have to treat, you don't have to do anything. No, just put it there. To heal the cuts, those things who can easily cause more infections and other things.
Sure.
So what we need is an established institution where boxing can grow and the boxers can really feel that they belong to somewhere that can affect their life positively, rather than boxing for a few weeks and after some years, some of them who are persistent enough to make it to the African Games, the Commonwealth Games. You see some of the females, after a competition or two, the next thing is they just want to get married and have children. That's what they want to do. But if we have an established institution where all this can be addressed, I believe Africa will move on.
So then the next question is, how do you get there? If that's the goal, it's up here, then how do you start it from down here? Gloria.
You know, if I want an academy,
Yeah.
and
now you've limited resources, right?
Right. But the thing is, even though it's limited resources, is to see, you know, what I do have, how much I might not can build the whole academy at one time, but maybe get a portion of it that might work, or find out, if possible, if there's sponsors out there, if there's, somebody that has connections to certain resources that can help me, to begin to lay the foundation for that. My thing is always trying to think outside the box. How can I get that? Who can I, even though I might have to go to or find a resource that's not directly linked to boxing, but somebody who likes boxing, who who has connections, because it's all about the connections. Finding this person who can connect to that person, who can connect to this person. And it's just a lot of work. It's a lot of footwork. It's going to be a lot of dedicating, your time and stuff to that. I mean, it's no easy task by no means, but it's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, and I will say to you, Mosun, that when I started with the cut person thing, there was so much resistance to it, because you're going up against institutions that have been there for 150 years, and they're resistant to change. And when you try to bring education and you try to put frameworks in place and regulation in place, they will push back against you. So what you can work with, just going back to what Gloria said, is what you have, okay, which is trying to connect people and pull them into the same space, and try to develop your resources from there. And when there's an interest or a group of people starting to develop, well, then you pull other people in, and you'll be amazed that doors start to open for you. Maybe doors will close, but windows will open here. But you'll keep going forward if you have that mentality. If your drive is the passion of teaching boxing to kids, boys and girls, and to providing a service.
Sorry, my
internet is bad.
Yes, the internet is bad. I'm trying. I'm trying to search for the signal. Okay.
Gloria, do you remember the old days when you had the rabbit's ears over the TV and you're walking around the signal?
Yeah.
you over here.
Yeah, you put a little tin foil, put a little foil on the rabbit ear and hold it up over here.
Oh. Stand on one leg, I think you got it now. Yeah. But look, it's possible. It's possible. Although we may live in different continents, that doesn't mean that there isn't struggles to go from here to there. Reach
out to people. You can reach out to people all over the world. You don't have to just reach out to people where you live or in your continent. you know, I've been reaching out to people, you know, everywhere, and I got hooked up with Joseph through my other son, who Steve Stokes, who lives in California, who called me. So it was networking and reaching out to all these different people. And I will look at all kinds of people, and I don't care what their background or what they're in. They could be a podiatrist, a foot doctor, you know, but that foot doctor may like boxing and be willing to connect me to somebody who will help me reach my goal. You see what I'm saying? So I don't care who it is. I will connect with them. I don't care what the background is. I'm going to reach out, because if they can help me and they can connect me to somebody that can help me, then that's what I do. And I just keep working at it until I'm able to put that puzzle together.
If I told you that it took me 4 years to get I was sending emails to ABA for years. I was sending emails to professional boxing for years. I kept on going back to places, like at the time MMA was developing, and it became my second home. But it was a constant knocking on doors, being told, getting doors closed in my face, and just keep on going, because I believed that it was an asset to the boxing community. You're an asset to the boxing community if you want to provide a better service for the people that's involved in the sport, and particularly children, and providing a safe environment. So don't ever think that your continent is the reason that you'll get stopped. You can step outside of it. Once you're strong here, you can keep on going that way. You can keep going that way. You can make it happen. And you got some good friends.
Okay.
So we're going to wrap it up. Gloria, do you want to say anything to finish?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Don't go anywhere just yet. Hold on. I'll come to you last. Gloria, do you want to say anything just to finish?
Yes, you know, it has been an honor to meet you, you know, and to know that you're out there. And, you know, I mean, if you get anything set up, or there's an opportunity for me to come to you and help in any way, in training or providing anything, I will come. I travel all over the world, so coming to you is nothing to me. I've gone to Africa. You know, I've been there once. My plan was to go back again. In fact, I am going to go back in 2021. So yes, I would love to come and help you in any way I can.
Over to you, Mosun.
Wow, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so happy for this podcast. It has really had much more to my knowledge. And now I know I have to go out of my comfort zone to be able to achieve what I want to achieve.
Absolutely.
And yes. And now I know that there are no limitations, because when I can see Coach Gloria talk about all our achievements, I know definitely I can achieve more. And yes. I will, I hope that my country understand and values what they have. But even if they don't, I'll keep pushing until all my boxes are able to recognize me as a role model and well, a mentor somehow.
Yeah.
In future, I would like to look back at my years as a coach and as a Cutwoman, and be glad that I have done something great for people and for myself. So especially, I would like to be 69 and look back and talk just the way Coach Gloria talks today now. And I so much want to appreciate you for putting me on.
My pleasure.
This platform, because I know this will go a long way in projecting me and what I can do. I just see this as you and Coach Gloria doing this for me today. So I really appreciate it. I'm so desperate searching for the network. It's just like running everywhere. So
to get a signal.
I'm so sorry for the bad.
Forget about it.
Yes.
Well, I'll wrap it up and say it's an absolute pleasure as always to speak to both of you. I wanted to get the two of you together, talk about girl power. It doesn't get stronger than that. both of you just have a really, really strong will and desire to push it out there and make boxing happen. But it's more than just boxing. It's about a sense of community. It's about setting up a service within your community to give children and adults a better place to come, discipline, education, life experience, etc. It's been amazing. So thank you very much for both for coming on and doing this today.
Thank you for having me. Anytime.
We'll end at that, and it's been a pleasure. And stay safe and stay healthy.
And I hope and I believe that as I move forward, sorry.
No, it's okay. Go on.
Sorry, that invitation might be coming very, very soon.
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.